in that.
Yes.
Yes, so many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth. And the Senate President is allowed to counter that. It all started on the 8th of December, 2023, which was a day before his birthday and my birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akwa Ibom because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends, we went to Akwa Ibom. And at first, we were at Ikot Ekpene. We were in his house in Ikot Ekpene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just 3 of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from us. Like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, "Do you like my house?" I said, "Of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste." He said, "Now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it." At that point, I just pulled away, and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant. But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me. And the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that inciting statements or not? And then the Senate President, too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate President now said, "Oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel." He has a chapel in his house as well. So while we were going to the chapel, you know, we walked in silence and all. So that evening, before we left the Senate President's house at about 11 midnight to the 4 points in Ikot Ekpene. And my husband asked me, "Natasha, what did the Senate President whisper to you? What's he telling you?" I thought, should I tell him that he was speaking about bringing me in here at a special time for us to have a good time? Or should I just kill it there, wrap it as if there was nothing? Because tomorrow was a big day. I know how much my husband adores the Senate President. He loves him as a brother. My husband would do anything to support him. So I told my husband, nothing. I can't remember what I created, but I just gave him some words to manage, to mask what was said. When we laid in bed, I lay to my right, and my husband wrapped his arms around me, and he said, "My love, you know you can't tell me anything. What did the Senate President tell you?" Again, I was like, "Don't you believe me?" I said, "Nothing. Nothing. Moreover, it's my birthday in a few minutes. Let's just be happy." Then my husband told me he doesn't want to see me travel out of the country alone, and I should not go to the Senate President's house because he has a guest house where many senators do go there, you know, after office to like get approvals and all that. So I told him, okay, no problems. That was it. I thought that was going to be the end. But then, in February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of corrupt practice in Ajakuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. Each time the motion is listed, just before he takes it, he will say, "Oh, Senator Natasha, we can't take this motion because the board of the Senate does not accommodate it." Or he will speak on others and then let it drag so that just before my motion is taken, the time will be well spent and won't. So he kept on doing that. I went to him in his office.
Senator more or less has finally arrived at a motion before us that we should refer the entirety of the saga to our ethics, code of conduct, and public petitions to revert back to us. But let me just read this for the record. I'm sitting today as Senate President. Tomorrow I will not be here. One day I will not be here. Another person will be here. I was a member of the 8th Senate. Today I'm a member of the 10th Senate. I believe strongly it's only God that knows who will be a member of the 9th Senate of the 11 Senates, 12 Senates. The institution remains. Even as I'm talking now, Senator Buhari knows that the rule allows a senator to sit anywhere, but if you need to make contribution, you must go back to your seat. And part of maintenance of order from the presiding officer is that where a particular senator perambulates too much around the Senate, you recognize him to speak. So most times, that senator, I won't mention the name, will have to run from here straight to his seat because he knows the rule. He knows the rule. He knows the rule that he has to speak from his seat. Even the first time the issue came up here, our distinguished sister was not even speaking from her seat. And that was when we tried to call her to order. I think part of the problem is when people come.
Our practices and convention seat. He didn't make an issue. Senator Wadada, we moved his seat. He didn't make an issue out of it. That's on the minority side. On the majority side, we had reasons to move the seat, change the seats of the likes of Senator Wamako, obviously one of the most ranking senators here, two-time governor before. He didn't make any issue. Senator Olamilekan will change his seat. Senator, that's the chairman of appropriation. Senator Adetokunbo Abiru will change his, and several other people here. And the part of the reason that necessitated our recent decision to change seat was because at least three distinguished colleagues had moved from the minority aisle to the majority aisle. First was distinguished Senator Ifeanyi Uba of blessed memory. And then Senator Ezenwa Francis Oyewuchi moved. And then lately, distinguished Senator Ned Nwoko moved. All of this necessitated a change in our seating arrangement because we needed to readjust. Of course, I understood why distinguished Senator Adaramodu would be concerned. He's our image maker, he's our spokesperson. And most of all listened to the interview that distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti granted unberiketed. She exercised her right to speak, but the question was about the contents of what she said, whether it was the truth or not. Sir, we have a committee that is in charge of how much of a strength of character we display as elected members of this Senate. How much of respect to the rules of this Senate that we display. That is the Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition. That committee has a responsibility not only to investigate whatever alleged, refusal to obey our rules or display of lack of strength of character, but the committee also has a responsibility to ensure that the privileges of the affected senator are also protected. And it is important that rather than us sitting here to debate this issue, that we just allow this matter, most respectfully, to be referred to our Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition, so that the committee can deal with this issue and probably in a week or two come back to us. And that will form the basis of our further debate and action on this matter. What Senator Adaramodu presented was a general report, and it had to come under Order 1B because it was not on the other paper for today, and he did it well. But it was not for him to make any prayer. It was not a substantive motion that he was bringing. He has laid his report before us. I beg most respectfully, let's refer this matter to our Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition, and they will get back to us so that right after this, we can go into an executive session and discuss other issues of public importance. But on this matter, I pray that we do not debate it any further. Let's just refer it to the appropriate committee. I so submit.